Kim Soo-hyun's 2017 film Real is stirring up controversy once again, this time after Sulli's brother leveled shocking accusations against the actor and the movie's director, who happens to be his cousin. As more unsettling details emerge about the film's behind-the-scenes drama, questions are growing. How many others beyond Sehran might have fallen victim to Soohyun's actions? The movie, touted as an action thriller, had Soohyun returning to the big screen after Secretly Greatly, and reports quickly highlighted the noir elements of the upcoming movie, casting him as a cold, ambitious character. Initially, there was little about the film, aside from Soohyun's role and the fact that he had personally invested millions in the project. The premise of the movie, along with Soohyun's involvement in it, generated a lot of excitement among the public, but everything changed when Sulli was reported to have been offered the female lead. Despite the lack of official confirmation, the backlash against her was swift and harsh. Even before the casting was confirmed, online forums were filled with comments accusing her of ruining the film, and netizens were ruthless, questioning why she was being cast in such a prestigious project. Once it was confirmed that Sulli would play Song Yoo-hwa, a rehabilitation specialist, the hate escalated. People criticized her acting without the movie even being out, saying she didn't deserve to share the screen with who they considered to be prestigious actors like Lee Sung-min, Sung Dong-gil, and even Soohyun. Things only got worse in 2016, when basically every media outlet reported that Sulli would be filming an explicit scene for the movie. This would mark her first bed scene, and the backlash was immediate and unforgiving. Instead of discussing the film or her performance as an actress, the focus was entirely on her personal life. Critics made vile comments about her relationship with Choiza and called her vile and degrading names. The most disturbing part was that some even treated Soohyun like a victim, acting as if he had been forced into the scene. This narrative was absurd, considering Soohyun was not only a co-star but also a producer on the film, heavily involved in decisions from casting to the content. Disturbingly, the film's marketing strategy seemed to take things up a notch by focusing heavily on the explicit scenes, which only escalated the backlash Sulli was facing. Rather than shying away from the controversy, the movie leaned into it, using these scenes as a main selling point. Part of this was one insider revealing that Sulli, surprisingly, handled most of the scenes herself, with only a few more revealing moments involving a body double. Despite this, the media couldn't help but turn her involvement into a spectacle, questioning whether her role was just a publicity stunt designed to draw attention through her exposure. This left both fans and critics baffled, wondering why no one seemed willing to stand up for her as she faced relentless criticism. By May 2017, a month before the film's release, the public was already predicting failure for Real, with many blaming Sulli for the movie's potential flop. Online discussions questioned whether her controversial image would harm the movie's prospects, with some even suggesting that Soohyun's career would be ruined by association. The attacks on Sulli were so pervasive that even the slightest misstep became fuel for more hate. When she arrived late to the press conference, the media pounced, criticizing her tardiness and her comments about the set. Sulli had tried to connect with the role, going so far as to visit hospitals to observe therapists, but none of these efforts were acknowledged. Instead, the spotlight remained on her perceived flaws, with Soohyun contributing to the narrative by scolding her publicly, dismissing her with comments like "speak normally," further isolating her. Despite being a supporting character, Sulli bore the brunt of the attention. When Real finally hit theaters, the reviews were harsh, but the blame remained on her. Critics agreed that the film failed due to poor direction, a confusing script, and a lack of cohesive storytelling. Yet the public continued to scapegoat Sulli, ignoring the film's many flaws. Soohyun, despite his role as both a producer and lead actor, remained silent. He distanced himself from the blame and instead focused on his career, leaving Sulli to carry the weight of the criticism. As the movie sank into obscurity, Soohyun quietly left for military service, having contributed to the chaos but refusing to take responsibility. Meanwhile, Sulli remained the target of online hate, with no one stepping in to defend her or challenge the narrative being pushed by the media. In the aftermath of the movie's failure, questions surrounding Soohyun's involvement started to emerge. Speculation grew that he, along with his cousin, the director, may have intentionally stirred up controversy to grab attention for a film that was already destined to flop. Rumors even suggested that the explicit scenes were leaked on purpose to generate buzz. The media seemed to play a part part in this too, protecting Soohyun's image while shifting the blame onto Sulli, casting her as the scapegoat for the movie's shortcomings. As more allegations surface, it's becoming clear that Sulli was unjustly dragged into a mess that she had little control over, and the true story behind Real is far more complex than anyone originally thought. After Soohyun's interactions with Saran and how he allegedly treated her came to light, the issue came to light once again. As his name made headlines, Sulli's brother, Choi Gun-hee, took to Instagram on March 21st with a cryptic message. He posted a black square with a caption that seemed directed at Soohyun, writing, "Kimchi, I have a lot to say, but I can't. You're going to fall from your high position, so you better hold on tight." Gun-hee never mentioned anyone by name, but since his post came just as Soohyun was under fire, many assumed it was about him. As speculation grew, he addressed it again later that day with another black square, pointing out how Soohyun's fans reacted instantly, even though he never named anyone. He expressed frustration over the lack of clear facts, saying he had lived with that same uncertainty for years. To cope, he had convinced himself there was no other choice. He decided not to say more, believing it wouldn't change anything or help anyone, especially with so many already struggling. He ended the caption with, "Aren't you the ones constantly dragging my sister onto the chopping block over similar issues? The way her name keeps getting brought up all over the place, it's honestly disgusting." He didn't go into details, but it was clear that something had happened during the filming of Real. He made it even more obvious with another post where he captioned it, "My life, your life, all of our lives are real," with the word real being in quotation marks. On March 27th, Gun-hee made another post, and this time, his words carried even more weight. He spoke about the 6 years that had passed since Sulli's passing, accusing someone of having played around with her during that time, and warning that they too would now have to endure 6 years of suffering. His message was sharp and direct, making it clear that he believed consequences were inevitable, while also urging them not to collapse too soon under the weight of their own actions. The situation escalated even further the next day when Gun-hee took things a step further by publicly demanding a statement from both Soohyun and his cousin, Lee Robe, who had directed Real. In an exclusive interview with Sports Kyongyang, he opened up about the immense sorrow his family had been forced to live with for the past 6 years, emphasizing that the pain they carried had never faded. He also addressed Saran's passing, stating that it wasn't something they could simply overlook or pretend had no connection to their own circumstances, while also offering his condolences to her family in light of what had happened. Along with his statement, Gun-hee raised 3 specific issues that he wanted Soohyun and Lee Robe to address. The first revolved around disturbing testimonies shared by staff and actors at Sulli's funeral, where it was revealed that her explicit scenes with Soohyun in Real had not been as detailed in the original script, leading him to demand Soohyun's stance on the matter. The second issue focused on that very scene, as Gun-hee claimed that although a body double had been present on set during filming, Sulli had ultimately been persuaded and even forced into doing the scene herself, leaving him questioning why the double had not been used instead. Lastly, he pointed out the conflicting statements that had been made about the body double's presence, as it had previously been stated that no double was available that day due to an illness, yet testimonies at the funeral contradicted this claim. With these inconsistencies coming to light, Gun-hee insisted that both Soohyun and Lee Robe come forward with a clear explanation. He added, "There were many other things we heard at Sulli's funeral, but we are only asking for answers for these 3 fact-based instances. Please respond." Gun-hee ended by saying that he hoped the truth about Saran would come to light, and that if her family ever wanted to meet, he would be willing to offer his condolences and support. His words sent shockwaves through the industry once again, reigniting discussions about the movie. Sulli's fans, along with netizens who were now scrutinizing Soohyun's past, had always suspected that something was off about Real, from the way Sulli was treated during filming to how the movie was promoted. However, they were only now beginning to grasp just how deep the issue ran. In response to the growing controversy, Gold Medalist, the agency founded by Soohyun's cousin, who also directed Real, released a brief statement saying they were in the process of verifying the claims made by Sulli's brother. This vague response did little to calm the public, with netizens expressing their frustration over the company's predictable attempt to deflect responsibility. They wrote comments like, "They are checking things every day, and why does checking sound like bribing a witness?" Fans quickly pointed out how strange the entire situation was. Sulli suddenly stopped participating in group activities to focus on acting, even though she had only been in a couple of dramas before. Then, out of nowhere, she landed a role in Real, starring alongside one of the most popular actors in the industry, Soohyun. Speculation spread that Sulli Sulli might have been looking to break free from her innocent idol image, which could have made her more susceptible to agreeing to the explicit scenes, which could have been easily done with a body double. Many felt that Soohyun exploited Sulli's struggles, both personal and professional, knowing she was vulnerable. For Sulli, working with someone as famous as Soohyun might have seemed like a golden opportunity, a chance to prove herself in the industry, but instead it appeared to be another instance of manipulation, with Soohyun using his position to take advantage of a younger, more vulnerable actress. Some even speculated that both Soohyun and the director, his cousin, pressured Sulli into uncomfortable situations, taking advantage of her challenges. The fact that she had no real support on set, with two powerful men, one the lead actor, the other the director, made the whole situation even more troubling. To many, the movie felt like a trap, drawing Sulli in and keeping her there, with no one watching out for her well-being. While the full extent of what went on behind the scenes remains unclear, the impact this movie had on Sulli is undeniable. Her family shared that after filming Real, Sulli vowed never to act in films again because of the mental strain it caused her. Sulli's struggles became even more evident when she eventually sought psychiatric help and even self-harmed because of it. While Real wasn't the sole reason behind her heartbreaking fate, it certainly played a role in worsening her mental health, adding to the relentless hate she was already facing and making it even more unbearable for her to deal with.